So my mentor, I always remember him, and I really credit my career to him.
Can we manage to have a family or a relationship and a career?
We all want to come straight out of university and be a general manager.
Yes.
And why can't I be a general manager?
Because if you're not brave and you're not going to go for it, you're not going to move anywhere. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to reach out. And you have to be able, to talk about it.
Yeah.
So be brave. Talk about your feelings, your emotions, or what's holding you back, what your fears are.
Welcome to the She Word Women in Business Edition. Conversations that women rarely have, but really should. I'm your host, Helen Chorley, former investment banker turned angel investor. And this is the all-new Women in Business series where we shine a spotlight on those issues that we really should be talking about at work. Today, we have a great episode for you with three experienced, wise, and formidable mentors. It was one of the most requested topics, and I'm so excited to be diving into that with you today. But before we do that, if you are an existing She Word fan, thank you and welcome back. Thank you for sharing and liking. If you are new here, a big welcome to you. Please follow across all our channels to make sure that you're updated and you don't miss any of the content because we have a really, really good series in store for you. Do follow us across Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and of course, here on YouTube. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, a special thank you to you. You are seeing this before anybody else. And also by being a Patreon, you are making a difference to the lives of women who really need support and guidance through our partnership with the Richmond Foundation. And today's topic, I think this will be a really far-reaching episode because, as I was saying, when we're asking ladies at the networking that I'm involved with what they wanted to speak about, the most frequent answer I got was mentorship. And we have three very experienced, wise, and insightful guests for you today who know about this firsthand because they are actively involved in mentorship. The intros are going to be a little longer today because I really want to make sure you hear all of their stories. Our first guest is Robyn Pratt, best known as the general manager of our beloved Phoenicia Hotel in Valletta here, where we are filming, and are generous sponsors of this series. She's been a hotelier since 1985, and her diverse career spans Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, providing her with the opportunity to work across cultures and appreciate the importance of the diversity needed to effectively work within and lead a team. She is also the MD of Impact Consulting, focusing on brand strategy, implementation, innovation, strategy, and change management. And she shares her knowledge from the Procter Gallagher Institute with her clients to achieve their dreams and aspirations. And in all that, she finds time to write and publish, to build a lifetime, to share her learnings from all this experience, which particularly relate to the ability to listen and communicate from a blank page approach, a key skill for mentorship. So welcome, Robyn.
Thank you so much, Helen. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Our next guest is Mariella Camilleri. Mariella is a seasoned finance expert with over 26 years banking and corporate finance experience, including expertise in cross-border transactions. Her background, amongst many other things, includes venture capital and mergers and acquisitions. She has also managed the global operations of a multinational marketing entity with product design, development, production, and distribution. She has also run a US-based self-publishing book company for over 11 years. Born in Malta, she moved to New York with her husband in 1984 and moved back 30 years later. Over the years, she has joined many volunteer organisations, more recently the BPW, the Business and Professional Women Valletta, Malta, in 2015, and for the last 6 years, she has held the role of president of the affiliate NGO. Mariella also serves on a number of corporate boards and also on the board of Breaking Silence Movement, an NGO based in Paris, France. And finally, she sits on the Consultative Council for Women's Rights and on the Oversight Commission for Women, Peace and Security. You're quite a busy lady, Mariella.
I try. I try to stay out of trouble. Thank you for having me.
And our third guest considers herself almost Maltese, as she has been here so long. Helga Ellul was born and spent the early part of her life in Germany, but has been living in Malta for 50 years since she was seconded here. She established herself as one of Malta's foremost business leaders, renowned as the former CEO of Playmobil Malta. She is also a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, for which she was honoured in 1994. And she also received the Officer's Cross of the Order of Merit on behalf of the German president by the German ambassador in 2011. She left Playmobil in 2012 to set up her own consultancy, Advise Limited, a firm that offers extensive know-how on corporate business, especially succession planning, governance, and HR. Welcome, Helga.
It's a pleasure to be here.
What a crowd. I'm just honestly so excited about this conversation. And I was looking into the stats around mentorship. According to the Harvard Business Review, 75% of executives credit their success to mentors. And recent research shows that 90% of employees with a career mentor are happy at work. Good news. Forbes cites 76% of people think mentors are important. However, only 37% of people currently have one. Most people opt for same-sex mentors, with 69% of women and 82% of men. And only 14% of mentor relationships started by asking someone to be their mentor, which I thought was really interesting. 61% of those relationships actually developed naturally. In terms of time, mentoring relationships last for an average of 3.3 years. 41% of people state that their mentoring relationship has set formal goals in place, and that's according to a report by Traft. Mentees are 5 times more likely to receive promotions than those who have no mentor, and mentors are also 6 times more likely to get promoted. Win-win all round. It's also worth noting that 89% of people who had a mentor will become mentors themselves. So let's start right at the beginning, ladies. What is mentorship? Because sometimes there's confusion or those lines blur between mentorship, coaching. How would you define it, Robyn?
Yes, so that's something that I'm often asked. So are you going to coach me or are you going to mentor me? And I've done a mixture of both. But I think in coaching, the coach does a lot of the talking, or directing or giving, you should do this, you should do that. And I think in true mentorship, the person being mentoring should do most of the talking. They're giving their insights on how they're feeling, what they feel they should do, and it's up to the mentor to listen and guide and give insights. And I think mentorship is more long-term. However, coaching is more of a short-term, okay, we need to get in, get this fixed. What does he or she need to do in order to achieve results? And I think it's more of a, we need to see the results. What have we done?
Yeah.
This is it. Whereas mentorship, I think, in my opinion, is more of a long-term guidance.
And as you say, kind of holding the space for that person.
And I have no doubt that people that have been mentored, although, and it's what I've learned, they have to want to be mentored too. Mm-hmm. I'm sure the other ladies have been put into organizations. Okay, we're going to mentor these women because, we want more women in the workforce or more women on boards or leadership. But sometimes people, men and women, are not looking for that. They don't want that. But people that really want it are going to obviously move up.
We're going to dive into what makes a good mentee. And actually, it was something when I was coming up with the questions, I'm like, is everybody mentorable? So anyway, we'll go into that. But Helga, I'd be really interested in how you approach kind of mentorship.
Look, I mean, in my previous job, especially at Playmobil, being quite an oddball at that time, being a woman in a men's world in Malta, and I had especially 2 women in my organization who that, I mean, if this German woman can do it, why can't we? And they wanted it. And I think, like Robyn said, mentoring is quite more emotional. It's based more on feelings and on trust, where they could open up with, can we do it? Can we manage, especially a family and children? Both of them were married and I had children. So especially that, can we do family and have a career? That was always, the old-fashioned Maltese way. No way. I mean, you have your base. You as a woman stay home and have children and look after them. So looking at me, they were saying, what make you and how do you do it? Your time management, can you compose? I think coaching is more lecturing. It's more on an academic way of passing on experience and telling people what to do. Mentoring is far more for me, the listening and the opening up to all your, and building the confidence in people. Can we really do it?
Yeah.
And that's where you as a mentor come in as well, exposing yourself to your own issues you had and how you overcame them. So your experience in your own life, which you can then pass on to the mentees. And I mean, we have a program, and because I have as well another small NGOs, we have a program especially on female leadership, on mentoring. Very successful. We had it with Erasmus in Italy. And when you talk to these women, most of it is, can we manage both sides? Can we manage to have a family or a relationship and a career? That's where they always struggle.
Right.
I don't want to be a lonely career woman. I want both.
Yeah.
And how do I manage that?
Yeah.
And I think that's why mentoring can be very successful in that way.
And you're a beautiful example of how you've done that. So you have a lot to share on that front.
And these 2 women I mentored became very successful, I can tell you. I mean, so obviously then seeing how they developed and how they overcome it and managed it in the Maltese context, because they were both Maltese, and became company secretaries, CEOs, very successful.
Oh, well, that must be
Right.
very rewarding indeed.
Yeah, definitely.
And Mariella, what does mentoring mean to you? Do you resonate with what ladies have said?
Yes, I think they're both right on the nose, right, what they said. But I think more importantly, from my perspective, is I've always been in situations where you find yourself the only woman there, right? And my mentor, my first mentor who really pushed me was a man. So it doesn't mean that it has to be,
Exactly.
the same sex or the same gender. And I think to me, mentoring is someone who can inspire you to achieve your goals. Or sometimes, as women, I think we all went through this, you doubt yourself whether you want to do it. And to me, mentoring is having them feel confident enough that they can actually do it, right? So you share your experiences. You share how you overcame those, situations that made you, achieve a goal, whether no matter what ladder you are on, what step you're on, or what your goal is, and working with them, talking to them, and making them feel empowered that they can actually take on the world if they want to, without limitations. Because I believe there are no limitations in life, and you can achieve what you want.
And that's exactly what you want to hear from a mentor, isn't it? Exactly. You can do it. We actually have an episode specifically on imposter syndrome because it's just something I see prevalent everywhere, and a mentor can absolutely help with that.
Yeah.
What I'd love to know from all of you is, in the stats we saw that actually 89% of people who have a mentor go on to mentor. Did you have a mentor in your careers? And was that a factor in you wanting to do this and give back?
Yeah, actually I do. And I've often say to young people coming into the hospitality industry, because of course, and especially these days, we all want to come straight out of university and be a general manager.
Yes.
And why can't I be a general manager? And I often say to them, look, this gentleman many years ago, and he's since passed away, and it was a man as well, and I always bring him up as the person that I go back to, and I think, the hospitality industry has given me so much in life. But he said to me when I was first starting out around in big brands, sort of 40 years ago, Robyn, you're in food and beverage. It would be very easy for you to go on, work up, be an assistant food and beverage, be a food and beverage director, and great. But I really would love you to spiral. And I was like, what? And, when you're young and you want to move up and like, what do you mean spiral? Get as much experience as you can from all of the areas of the hotel. And at that stage in Australia, I was young. There wasn't a lot of female GMs. And he said, the more experience you get from as many departments, that will make you the best GM. And I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, all right. But at that time, I was sort of 20-something, and I started to watch my colleagues, the men moving up, food and beverage director, moving over to Asia or wherever. I'm like, am I sure this guy is really, he'd come back, no, trust me. And I think that is a big thing with a great mentor.
Yeah.
As you were saying, Helga, trust.
Right.
You've got to establish that real trust because, and it's ongoing. And I went in and I, housekeeping, learned to make beds, did everything. I mean, I didn't do too good in finance, but, I got most of the other things okay. And all of a sudden, I was, sort of the youngest GM in Australia for this brand. But going along, and then all of the other guys like, how did she get there? And it was through, and I try to share that. It's very difficult to share thinking, why do I need to spend more time? But it's like spending more time, getting that experience. And honestly, I value that so much. I think of this gentleman, John Cameron, so often when I can go down to housekeeping and I can understand what they're doing or go into kitchen or help serve, when we're busy at breakfast, those sorts of things. In fact, it was really funny the other day. We had a group of, I think it was Brazilians having brunch, and I was dressed in my normal gear, and all of a sudden, because we were busy, I went up and I said, would you like some more champagne? And this guy looked up at me and started laughing. And I'm like, why is he laughing at me? And he said, why are you offering me a drink? He thought I was one of the guests. But I said, no, I'm the general manager. Would you like a drink? But, but when you can do anything.
Yes, turn your hand to everything.
And it does, you do earn a lot of trust and credibility that way. So my mentor, I always remember him, and I really credit my career to him.
What if you could start your journey over? Start here and start again there. That's how life works, in a circular way. We understand the importance of circles, and that's why you are at the heart of ours. Find your way to wellness with Browns.
We are curators of culinary excellence. We stock all your favorite eateries with the finest ingredients and complement the best dishes with wines and spirits of distinction. We provide all the brands you love that you never knew you loved. Because the little things in life are the big things. Abraham's, for that something special.
I love that concept of spiral.
Yeah, I
How
love
beautiful, because it really is becoming a holistic, a more well-rounded version of you.
Otherwise, I would have, and you see it so often, like you come up in the one, especially in hospitality, I'm sure in many industries, but, yes, you could be great in your food and beverage, but do you really understand what housekeeping's doing, or stewarding, or finance, or the front office team, or concierge? And I have that. And it's, this gentleman shared that with me and really helped me to, and from being a young GM, then went on into regional and international roles. And I talk about him a lot.
Oh, how lovely. Was there somebody like that for you, Helga?
Well, I had as well a man as a mentor, because at that time
Yeah.
In business, it was men.
It's very true.
And he was the owner of Playmobil, actually, and I worked with him in Germany for 6 years. And he was an exception man, obviously. And I think, and a very dominant man, but I think what struck our relationship that I was always questioning, and he enjoyed me questioning everything, and he really literally took me by the hand and went with me through all the process, took me down to the shop floor, down to the machines, enjoying my questions and enjoying sort of lecturing me and showing his experience and his expertise. So I worked with him for 6 years in Germany, and we obviously established a relationship. And we had the plant in Malta, very, very small plant. And and he was looking for somebody to take over the plant in Malta. And I said, I want to go. I want to get other experience, different cultures. He said, no, I need you here. I can't let you go. I said, leave me 1 year. Let me have this experience, and I come back. He said, all right, go for 1 year. The 1 year became 50 years, obviously. But
Too well.
when I came down, I mean, for me, we had this relationship already, have built over 6 years, long term. And ultimately, he literally trusted me to run this company my way. He said, I want bottom line. You know my philosophy. You know what our product is about. You know what I wanted. So, I mean, obviously, having built over 6 years, this know-how of each other, and I fully adored what he wanted the product to be, and a brilliant product, obviously. So, but he let me run the company. He said, you know the culture, you know the people. And he knew that I actually love people. For me, a company is people, not the company. People make a company. I didn't make Playmobil, my team. We all made Playmobil. And, seeing all the different expertise in your team and how they can build together and the creativity of a team to build this company. For me, I mean, when they say company, I always say people. And you feel it in a company. If you go in, is it a people company or not? And the strength of any company, I think Robyn would more than agree to it, is its people, especially in your hospitality, even more so, but even in manufacturing.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate. It's in every level of any company. It's the people. And if you inspire them, you motivate them, they belong, they feel empowered, they bring it into you. They make you grow. They make you excel.
Yeah.
So, and he let me do that. And having come to Malta in a complete different culture to Germany was a great experience for me, because I had my German know-how and strictness and how we Germans are very regimental, and coming in a Mediterranean culture, totally different, totally different. It was quite a learning experience and a great one, because I saw the strength of the Maltese, and I had brilliant people working with me, believe me, the loyalty, they admired the Germans way of thinking, and that if they can do it, we can. And they could. And if you empowered them, they wanted to learn, they wanted to do things. They were so great, giving these people who felt that they maybe didn't achieve yet what the Germans, but they wanted to do it, and they could do it. Yeah. And if you empower them, they were so great.
Yeah.
Far more creative and rewarding than I had my colleagues in Germany who were stuck in their things. These were people who really were, and we were a team of youngsters. We were 18, 20, 25. We were young children building a company.
Yeah.
With all our enthusiasm, in all our fun, because we enjoyed working. And I think that was part of it too. It wasn't you go from 7 till 5. We enjoyed coming.
How
We enjoyed,
beautiful.
everybody had his say. It was such a team effort. It was such a great achievement, you know.
Yeah, how beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And Mariella, was there somebody in your life?
Actually, yes. And then he was the first mentor that I really considered as a mentor. He was the manager where I worked at an Italian bank in New York. And I'm being the only Maltese in the bank full of Italians.
Yeah.
He made me the relationship officer for Italian companies doing business in the US. You know how
Wow.
that went, right?
Wow.
So, but he supported me. He actually, I think, believed in me more than I did at the time. And he gave me every opportunity to succeed. He was there even when the clients called and said, I got a call from Mariella, what does she want? He goes, I don't know, she called you, ask her. He knew exactly what I was doing step by step. So for me, that built in me the belief that I can actually do things. I mean, there were a number of things, you know, being the only woman in a room full of bankers, you know, raising your hand, asking a question, you get ignored a lot, as you can
Oh, I know that
imagine,
one, yeah.
with bankers. But he was always there, and he made me believe, and that's something that I carry with me,
Yeah.
and that's what I try to do. Because if I getting over all of those obstacles with his, you know, vision that he saw in me and his belief in me, if I can do that and touch one person, I mean, for me, that is a success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I actually, I owe it all to Ugo. Ugo Torquati was his name, he passed away now. But that's what I try to do. So that's my
How
experience.
beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful stories of
Yeah.
of support. And like, as you say, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, but somebody
Yeah.
believed in you all and opened your eyes to
Yeah.
that possibility.
And I think you said something really so true, and that's what I try to, help people I'm mentoring and coaching these days is, helping them believe in themselves because especially at that age and especially if they're going through particular situations and as you said, mothers with children and how can I do this? It just, you feel like giving up. I think we're all mothers with children and I think that's the big thing, that someone's there giving you a bit of a boost, inspiring you. Yes, you can do this.
And what other qualities do you think a good mentor brings? We've talked about like that belief, having that belief in the mentees when they very often can't see it themselves or they're having those doubts and that imposter syndrome. What else do you think makes a good mentor?
I think very much listening from that other person's perspective. And I learned a lot about that when I lost my memory and how we tend to listen from our own background, culture, what we've learned. So we listen. So I'm listening to you based on what and I hear certain things. I'm not necessarily listening to what you're really saying to me.
Right.
Like what you're really telling me. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes we tend to hear what we'd like to hear, and then we go off on a tangent based on that, and they're like, well, it's actually not exactly what I was saying or what, the information I was wanting. And I think that for me is from a mentor, and also being a confidant, very much trustworthy, the trust. But I think really listening and really gaining a very good understanding of what that person wants to do. And, it might not be what I think he or she should be doing, but what is their vision? What's their goal? Helping them believe that they can do whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah. And you were nodding there, Helga, with
No, I think Robyn said it. I think the most important part is listening. Making them feel at ease to bring out all their doubts and to have to understand their situation. You can't just take yours, but you have to understand their situation and the issues they are facing, maybe with their partner or whatever, or their family sometimes as well. So I think also is to try and make them find their own solutions by guiding them, because you can't just impose what you did would be right for them. But they have to find their own ways, but you have to try and guide them towards it, and to try and look in their ways and seeing themselves where they could come out of it by telling them, yes, if you think that's the right way, you could do it, go for it, try it out, So, but helping them more to see themselves in finding their own ways by being there, supporting, and if they have a bit of a drawback, because we all had that as well.
Don't
You
we
go
all?
up
Absolutely.
and then you fall back a bit and you find a problem again. Again, not let them fall down, but pulling them up again and say, look, one small problem does not defeat.
No.
Get up again.
Yeah.
Try and see, learn from it. If anything, go more forward.
So encouraging
So it is
them.
encouragement more of going on.
Yeah.
Get going, I think, which they need as well, because you always have a bit of going a step and then you all of a sudden find again obstacles or problems. So get going. Don't give up, I think it's encouragement, if anything.
Yeah.
And Mariella, what do you think?
I tend to ask a lot of questions. I'm a question person because I think when you ask questions, you get people to think things through, and sometimes they start giving out information that they probably haven't even thought about. So that's what I do. That's the way I feel it works, and you connect. Yes, it's very important to listen, because at the end, this is their life, their ambitions that you're trying to hone. So I think, listening to them, talking through maybe when you think they're sort of like really not sure what direction. So you talk with them, talk through the issues, and really help them understand. Because at the end of the day, I honestly believe a mentor is there to help you understand yourself. But you're there to guide them, and they have to come up with the solution more than you do for them.
This goes back to something that you said, Robyn, that actually you do less of the talking. You let them do the talking and maybe work out their own solutions themselves by...
Yes.
They have to
It
find
can't be
their own.
in coaching, the boss might say, look, I want him or her to be able to do this, 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 and this. So you develop the coaching session based on whatever it might be for that particular week. Whereas mentorship is, as you were saying, getting them to talk more, share,
Find their own
really
ways,
dig deep. What do you think is really holding you back? What is it? What are you really feeling? What is it you're not telling me? What? Let's talk. Sort of. I think that is, if you can really, but obviously it takes trust, and they have to be able to trust you, and that is incredibly important, I think.
Absolutely. And we've talked about what a great mentor looks like, but on the reverse of that, what makes a great mentee? Are there some people that just aren't cut out for this? Like you say, you had the example earlier on of, do they choose to be there? Because if not, they might not be bought into the process as much.
Yeah, I mean, I have had this, I'm sure you ladies have as well, that I've, it's like a marriage, isn't it? I've stopped a mentorship because the person just did not, it just wasn't working. She just did not want, she wanted it, but she didn't want to listen. She didn't want to hear what, or do the work maybe, or even share some of the issues that she had. And, it's useless wasting her time and mine if it's not going to work. And so we agreed that this is just not, and unfortunately it didn't, she was in quite a very senior position, not in Malta, in another country, and it didn't work for her in the company either, because it was one of those things that she just, there was issues with her taking on feedback. And I think that's a thing, isn't it? You get some people that, particularly if it's in a company where they've identified like a senior leader and they think that this person, let's give them some mentorship, at a very senior level. This is a head of a position, a head of a company for in an international level. But at the end of it, she just was not one of those people that wanted to hear.
She just couldn't listen.
No. You get those, don't you?
Yes, you do. I think it has to be a bad mentee is someone who's not open.
Who doesn't
If they're not open to it, you have a wall in
Based,
front
yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
And it's someone who, because subconsciously we all know who we are, I think,
Yeah.
whether we admit it or not. So if subconsciously they believe that they know it all, like many young people nowadays, I'm afraid to say, I've met
true.
many of them, and who are you to tell me what I should or shouldn't know? Who are you to think that you're going to help me? I don't need your help. So that is a bad mentee because you're not going to go anywhere. And also maybe somebody who looks at you and say, well, you really haven't been in my shoes, so you're not going to be able to help me. They're already closed off.
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the worst scenarios. And then there are those who just want, someone to hang with, but they're not really open to take any suggestions anyway. They just want, maybe they're a bit lonely. So you get those as well.
And have a chat.
I hate to say that, but yeah.
You just must be too much fun to hang out with, Mariella.
No, not really. But no, I don't know. But
No,
yes,
you have to feel it's genuine.
Yes.
If it's not, and you feel it, I think in the first 1 or 2 talks,
Yeah.
you would know it's a go or not a go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like Mariella said, I wouldn't waste my time. If the person thinks they know it already and felt just sort of, and it might be good to have a bit of a chat, no, don't let me waste my time.
Yeah.
But if then you feel genuine women who really, really want to do it and just feels this tiny bit uncertain and needs this empowerment, and you feel, I mean, in a talk, I think you feel it straight away in the openness, how they answer you, how they question you, if anything as well, if they really want an input from you or not. And if that feeling is not there, it will not work.
Yeah.
Mentoring is built, like I said before, on trust, on a good relationship. If that isn't there, it will not work.
Yeah. And if somebody's listening to this and they are at a point in their career or their business and they are needing some help and they're not sure if they should go for a mentor or if they need a coach or they just need a bit of guidance, how does somebody know when they're ready for that step, would you say?
I sometimes get quite often calls and then somebody said, listen, could we have a talk to you? Because of my consultancy and whatever. And I said, all right, come. And they come. Sometimes it was one of the time it was 3 women together trying to open up a business, quite settled in what they wanted, but weren't quite sure, where do we go, how do we go about it and all. And they said, can we engage you? I said, you don't need to engage me. Let's just have a talk. Tell me what you want, where you are, and what you want. And we had 2 sessions. For me, it's not the charge. I mean, they were so enthusiastic. They were so ready. They were already half there.
Yeah.
They just needed this tiny bit of where to go to, what is the best way forward,
Direction.
how to set up a company, where to go, where to get advice. It was nothing very specific. But that part gave them that push. Yes, we are there, we can do it. And I think sometimes it's just that, it doesn't need a whole mentoring process. They were already almost there. There was this tiny bit of uncertainty, how to go about it. And you just help and do it, and they will make it.
Yeah.
I think we've all helped people. I know, I'm sure you have with
Yes,
BPW,
I mean,
my
you-
goodness. But it's a difference between they just need a little bit of inspiration to
Yeah.
push them.
How far they already.
Or, I think with mentorship, it's, as you said, we all know ourselves. And if you're feeling that you know where you want to go, you've sort of got your plan, but you just really don't know if you can get there by yourself. You just need someone alongside you. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's not your husband, it's not your partner, you know, you don't feel, and I think it's fair enough. I mean, I think you need someone that's unbiased, that can just lead you. And, you know, at times there may be some harsher words that you want to hear, but that can just give you that nudge to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah.
And we all need someone.
Absolutely. Even to bounce those kind of ideas around with, which isn't always necessarily appropriate with somebody in the same company or the same business. Sometimes it needs that external perspective to be able to voice things or air things or even concerns that perhaps you wouldn't want other people in the business to know that you're having.
Yeah.
Like a sounding board, you know, sort of just to, are we there? Are we thinking right?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking right with a single person? They just need sort of to make sure their ideas are correct or need to be adjusted, you know. And I mean, and I think it's such fun to help them because they know it already, you know. It's just sort of the tiny bit to tell them, yes, go that way, or be careful there, but, you know, it's like a sounding board. And sometimes they feel a bit on their own because they don't feel confident maybe either with their partner or with somebody in business to sound it off. So they feel they need somebody a bit outside, yet with experience enough to help them and give them the ticking, yes, you're right, you know, go.
And certainly, I mean, a lot of the ladies that I work with in the UK that are entrepreneurs doing their own things or, you know, solopreneurs, it can be lonely, as you say. And having that external sounding board or that external person to bounce ideas off or just, am I on track? Am I not on track? That's absolutely invaluable, isn't it? Really is.
You said it, it's lonely. Sometimes you just need this exchange with somebody to say, wow, yes, go, you correct, you know. And it's very difficult sometimes to find that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where, I mean, we are getting a bit away from mentoring, but even that is part of that, really, you know, where on your own, am I right? With whom can I talk about it?
Yeah.
And that's where you need to find sort of this maybe experienced women who have gone through that stages who can tell you, yes.
I think that leads us nicely on, actually, to if you are at that point and you are ready and you know you need some guidance or you want some external, how do you go about finding it? How do you find someone that's appropriate for you? How do you find someone that's going to understand you and resonate with you? What would your advice be in terms of finding somebody suitable?
I think it's networking is the key. I know that's a whole different topic, but networking is very important in life, in anything that you do. At least for me, it was always very important. And sometimes you meet people or you're introduced to a person, you somehow you get attracted to that person and you say, this is a person that I can trust, somebody who can help me get to where I want, or the other way around, right? Sometimes you meet someone and say, this is a special person that I need to help. This is a special person that with a little bit of guidance can actually achieve so many things in their life, whether it's personal or business. I mean, we look at it from a business perspective mostly, right? I think a lot of us. But I think it's that little spark of connectivity. I just had one of these last weekend with this young Ukrainian woman who started this business about, identifying a misinformation or malinformation through AI. And, we started talking, and, I just took her on as a mentor because I really connected with her. She was sitting next to me. And so sometimes it's just networking and being somewhere or being in the right place at the right time.
Right time. Absolutely.
Yes. So this is the way I go about it.
Oh, lovely.
I totally agree. Networking, I think in my case as well, because especially being women, they obviously through the 50 years in Malta and what I have been doing, and being sort of quite a bit of an oddball and at the beginning of the women in business. So they saw me as a woman. So maybe this woman we can ask. Yeah. She has gone through it. Mm-hmm. She has made it. They feel maybe being, they wouldn't like to talk to a man. Maybe they feel more confident with me, a woman. But also, like you said, networking. You go out, you meet people, and they said, can I talk to you? And you feel, either you can connect or you cannot. And you feel it straight away and then let's meet up, or let's have a talk. It would be interesting to know more about you, because for me it's inspiring too, seeing these young women going on. And, I really enjoy seeing their ideas, seeing their way they want to go.
Oh, we're going to come there. We're going to come to Revere. Let's not.
Right, okay.
That's my next question. Robyn, how do you think? What advice would you have for how to find a good mentor?
Well, I think there's the other ladies that said you've got to be out there, but I think you've got to have that energy.
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in, when you make that decision, as they say, when you decide to learn, the teacher will come. And I think it is making that committed decision that I need someone to help me. You're obviously going out to these various, you need to put yourself out there. Yeah. You can't sit at home and think, someone's going to appear through the sky that's going to meet. Because it's got to, and I think it's about energy. Energy, like energy connects. And so, I'm like Helga, it inspires me to see people doing so well that I've been part of their story. And I think that, once you, don't be afraid. Don't think it's being weak. No. Some people think, it's weak having a mentor or a coach or someone telling me, and it's not, it's strong. I mean, I have no surprise seeing that people who have mentors being more promoted more, but they're the ones that have actually made the committed decision, I want to improve, and I know that I can't do it myself. I need somebody. So they're out there, they're willing, they're open to it, and I think it's something that, it's about making the decision first. And I truly believe then once you've made that decision, you go out, various events, and it will happen. Sitting, right beside someone who says, I really like that person. I'd like to help her or him. Yeah. I've mentored men and women, and the first thing is just make that committed decision.
Yes.
And do you think we can hold ourselves back sometimes? Because you mentioned something there about it's not a sign of weakness. Are people, even at, higher levels or whatever level, are we afraid sometimes to ask for help?
Yes, for sure, I think. Yeah. I think it's very much, particularly as you get higher and higher, you think, I don't want to go out there and say, I might need to, need a little bit of help or need to, I think we all do. It gets lonelier and lonelier at the top, doesn't it? Yeah. And I really think that, I've worked with some people and again, not in Malta and from different cultures, that when we first meet, it's a little bit, but why do I need a mentor? This is more corporate. And then at the end, we're best friends and we never want to part, sort of thing. So I think that it is making that committed decision and being open that we don't all have everything we need. Right.
And also, as you've explained, it's a process.
Yeah.
Process of building that. And it might be instantaneous, as your example was, Mariella, or it could be, takes a slow kind of warming up as well.
Yes, no, definitely. It doesn't always work the same way. And I think, as Robyn just perfectly said, they have to be open, just as you have to be open.
Yeah.
because it's a connection.
Yeah.
I think this is more of a marathon, not a short race. For a person who doesn't run, I'm making the analogy really bad analogy, but anyway. But it's a connection of one individual or a mind to a mind. This is how I look at it. It's a mind to a mind. And, you just take pride in helping someone achieve their goals. Whatever it is, whether it's being successful in business or sometimes just making a simple decision that could take them on the road to success. So being part of the process for me, it's the best thing that you can get. It's a legacy. For me, it's a legacy. Helping someone achieve a goal wherever they are. And I've had both men and women as mentees. The approach is different.
Yeah.
A man, I think, much more so than women, has to be open to be able to express their feelings and their desires with respect to a career to a woman. Not to another man, because men, between each other, I think they love to say, this is what I want to do. But when it comes to women and listening to women, it takes a little bit more out of them. They have to be quite strong at the beginning. But like I said, for me, it's just the fulfillment you get out of seeing somebody thrive. It's the best feeling in the world.
That's beautiful. It's another question I had. Like, why do all this is a significant time investment and energy and emotion. Why do you do it? Like, you've talked beautifully there, Mariella, about legacy, about how rewarding it is to see, to see watch somebody's journey, to see them go on to the success. Is that what it's about for you?
For me, it is. For me, it's the fact that, you've helped someone. You're empowering someone to be whom they are meant to be. Because I do believe life is a journey and you end up wherever you're meant to end up. So just being part of the journey, it's very fulfilling. Time-wise, I think if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's not a burden.
Yeah.
If you're starting to dread talking to somebody, it's time to move away, because that, I think, is the first telltale. But yes, I think it's rather fulfilling for me, and it's something that I gladly do. Fitting in schedules can be a little bit more, crazy. My life, how it goes. But you're gladly to move things around to make room to speak to someone that you really want to help.
Yeah. So. And Helga, how about you?
Well, for me, definitely seeing a person succeed and seeing that this potential this person had come out. And I did men and women, and a lot of men as well, or young boys growing into very successful men. And I think for me as well, if I make a small difference in one person's life, my life is worth living. Yes. So for me, it's giving me as much satisfaction, I think, as what will give the other person, seeing the success, and seeing that I not only made that person succeed, but kept that person as well on a ethical way of succeeding. Because for me, I think it's very important that whatever you do in life, even in business, it's very ethical and correct.
Yeah.
So guiding them both in the right way as well, and seeing them to become the person then later on in the corporate world, and spreading that on, because they will, what you have given them, I think they will give as well. I think it's like a chain.
It is that ripple
which will
effect.
involve.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you enjoy most about it?
I think
Robyn?
it's to what these ladies were saying. But my mother always said to me, Robyn, you get what you give in life.
Yeah.
And you ask all the team here, I'd say it a lot. And I believe that, over the years through giving, I think I've gained 100-fold, because I also think, when you do training, you learn.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you developed all of this and you're preparing everything and we are working with the ladies, people say, why are you doing it? But at the end, you'll sit back and go, wow, I feel like I've grown. And I think that's how I feel when I'm with people. And all of a sudden, one lady who I work with, and I would love her to be on your show. She's American. She's almost 70. She's the most dynamic woman I've ever come across, and she mentors a lot of the big C-suites of the big companies across the world. And she always says to me, "No, so tell me when you get to that aha moment, because you always have it. You know, like it's like the penny drops, and it's like,
No,
oh." And it could be something really silly.
Yeah,
but that moment when you see their eyes change, the glisten changes,
so true.
and it just stopped. And it's like, when you see that, you think,
Now.
you got it. You got it. That's it. You know, we don't need, it's done. And I think that is it. And it does. When I see people who have gone on and done things, whether it be big in professional or personal, I feel enriched. And I think if we could all do a little bit more to do that, to help enrich others' lives, as you well said, they will go on to do the same. Just as my mentor did it for me, I really value that. I want to be that person in the future that has changed someone else's life, for them to have been the better that they can.
And that moment of that, by Jove, they've got it.
Yeah.
I may share, I had a mentoring session. I was the mentor with, it was a lady, actually. I mostly have men. I think we should talk about that. But a lady in the UK, and we were trying to niche down on her USP as an SME developer. What made her different? Why should investors invest with her over anybody else? And we talked about her background. We went through some kind of ways of identifying things. And then she drops into conversation, just as an aside. Oh, well, yeah, I've got a degree in law. And I was like, excuse me? And like, you didn't think to mention this beforehand? I'm like, do you know the credibility, the comfort, what that brings to you that differentiates you from any other developer out there? And she had that moment, and her face changed.
It's like,
she just hadn't seen it because it's part of her everyday.
She didn't read.
Yeah, she just hadn't seen it. So I know the beauty of that moment, and it really is. It is so rewarding, as you say.
So she always asks me when we've done any mentoring coaching, okay, so what was the aha moment? And that's what we focus on, because it is the most important moment of any sort of program, because that's when it all changes.
Yeah. And actually, kind of carrying on that theme, there's this concept of reverse mentoring, isn't it? Do you find that you learn as much, or you certainly learn things from your sessions as much as your mentees do?
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
It's very enriching for you as well. Because then you see their situation, you learn different situations, you see the issues they're having, which then you try to see how you can make it in that, you know. So you go out of your own comfort zone into there. So I think it's a learning curve for yourself. And in a way, the more you mentor, the more you learn as well from the different perspectives. So I think it's, I mean, for me, it was always and still will be a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I get a lot from that as well. I mean, I literally see different perspectives which I wouldn't have thought about. And I said, oh my God, yes, that is difficult to overcome. How can you do it? You know, so, I mean, for me, like I said, it's a big learning curve. And I get a lot out of that.
You're stepping into their shoes and seeing that whole different perspective, the different filter, different way of seeing the world. Yeah, it's very... How about you, Mariella?
Definitely. It's a no-brainer that you're always learning, especially when you're talking to someone. I'm fascinated by technology, really fascinated by technology, and I love the law. So when I'm talking to someone who comes from a technological background, I am learning from them more than anything I can give them back. So let's start from there. But it's, as Helga just said, it's, you know, you're learning, you're gaining experience, you're gaining knowledge, which will help you also, not just in your own life, but also for all the people around you. So for me, that is what I get back mostly. And even like working with entrepreneurs, their vision, the tunnel vision that some of them have. I think anybody who's worked with entrepreneur, you know how tunnel vision they can be. But just being able to walk with them, this little walk, and come to the aha moment and learn from them what they're actually seeing from their perspective. Because we could be looking at the same problem, right? But I'm looking at it from this direction. You're looking at it from that other direction, which opens up my own thinking about, okay, so if I'm seeing it from this, they're seeing it from that, what is the way to resolve this? And working with the mentee as a mentor, you're both approaching the situation and maybe not just guiding them, but you're also guiding yourself of how to approach that from a different perspective and get out of your own mind and look at it from, the world around you.
It brings me back almost, Robyn, to that holistic way, as you were advised to spiral, that this mentor-mentee relationship is like a holistic approach.
Absolutely. I trained in Blue Ocean Innovation because I used to look after innovation for a big company. And one of the paths is this looking across industries exploration. So you look, we're looking at the sleep experience. So you look across, nothing to do with hospitality or hotels, but look at other industries, what they might be doing, and what could you gain from what they're doing that you could implement into your business.
Yes.
And I've always thought, now, okay, so, I mean, the moment you just stay, and that's what they say, you stay swimming in your own industry, that's that red ocean of sameness.
Yeah.
And you've got to step out into this blue ocean and really look at what the big wide world is doing. And that's when true innovation and true change starts to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with mentorship, helping them to see beyond the little area that they're in. And I think that's a big aspect of it all, is helping people to really see outside their little comfort zone. Because once you start working outside your comfort zone, that's when change starts to happen.
It's almost like taking the blinkers off, isn't it? You've in your little red ocean here, your little world, and actually by opening it up, you've opened this whole new blue ocean of possibilities and ideas and perspectives, and it's just more well-rounded. If somebody is at that point, they think they're ready, they're prepared to listen, now they know where to go and how to network and to have those conversations, what other advice would you give them at this point?
Be brave. Go for
That's
it.
a good one.
Because if you're not brave and you're not going to go for it, you're not going to move anywhere. And I think it's, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to reach out. And you have to be able, to talk about it.
Yeah.
So be brave. Talk about your feelings, your emotions, or what's holding you back, what your fears are. So that's why I always say, be brave. Go for it.
And ask for that help that we've discussed.
Yes.
Sometimes people are reluctant to. Yeah.
I know. I think we're all stubborn in
I
our
would
own
say
ways, right?
I would say the same. Just go for it. Ask for help. Look for experience and for these conversations and get your things out. But don't hold back. Go for it. You can make it. Others did it. And just ask for the help. Be open. Get your issues out. Resolve them with the expertise and with the learning of somebody else. But my biggest thing is as well sometimes, the young generation now have so many other big issues. With artificial intelligence, with all the networking, with all the things. Sometimes it's very difficult as well with whatever is out there, and very stressed out with your timing and whatever, to try and have time to think of what you want to do, and then get a focus and go for it. And I think that's where mentoring can help as well. Somebody to guide you to focus for it, and keep all the other interferences a bit away. Because today the world is stressful.
Yeah.
Sorry to say it.
No, it is.
You know, so that for the young one sometimes to just have this talk to somebody to focus and keep this away and start the clean thinking, I would say.
Yeah.
To try to help you to the next steps.
Yeah, filter out that noise. As you say, there's so many distractions,
Oh,
whether
yes,
it be
it's
social
tough, you know,
demand,
it's-
social media, or exactly demands on your time, or filter that out. I really like that concept. Robyn,
Yeah,
how about
I
you?
think back to Napoleon Hill wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich, and he studied the most successful people across many years, and he was saying that, you know, it's about making that committed decision. So you've done that, sort of developing that clear action plan, but then having somebody to guide you.
Push and push.
And it is about that guidance, because not everyone, like it is, there's so many pressures on our time, and it's increasingly so with technology. We have to answer that WhatsApp now, that email now, and it's instantaneous, all these other
Yes.
things that are coming in and pushing it. So to take that hour or whatever it is on a weekly basis to really focus on what it is that you want to do with
Clean
focus
thinking, yes.
and clear mind
Yeah.
without interruptions, I think it makes a big difference.
It's a gift to yourself, isn't it, really? A self-investment of dedicated time with something that is going to move you forward.
Yeah, we
So
get
essentially, yes.
we get coaches for, you know, personal fitness
Yeah,
coaches
yeah.
and dietitians and nutritionists and, you know, all of this sort of stuff. But this is about the mind and getting the mind focused
Yes.
on where you need to go to be the best you can be. And that's what I think a mentor is there for, to help you.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, you see that ripple outwards, and that you know those mentees are probably going to go on and do the same.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that a lovely thought? I think that's a really lovely place, with that very happy thought, to leave this conversation. And I think we should cheers to that, ladies.
Definitely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Lovely to
Cheers.
be here.
Yes, definitely. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, it was. It was a really good.
Cheers, Robyn.